This is the Above Average Podcast, and you are listening because you want an above average life.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the Above Average Podcast, the podcast where we talk to above average people about their above average lives. Now, you guys are really going to love my guest today. She is an absolute delight, and I'm not just saying that based on what she does for a living as well. So she's a full-time entrepreneur, turning what started out as a fun little hobby into a thriving business, as well as featuring on Season 2 of Gordon Ramsay's Future Food Stars. Please welcome Miss Blondie Bakery herself, Amy Dalby.
Oh.
Dalby, to the show. How are you doing, Amy?
I'm good. How are you?
And you had messed that up
It's
at
fine,
the beginning. Yeah.
does.
Amazing. So before we get into the exciting stuff about Blondie Bakery, I want to take you back to something that I can relate to as well, and that's working in the service industry.
Yeah.
So take us back. You started working in the hospitality industry from the age of around 16, is that
it was
correct?
like 15, 16.
Yeah. Is that where your love of sort of food started, or?
Yeah, I think that working in it so much, you develop. It's either you sort of go one way or another. So you either go, I hate people.
Yeah.
Or you sort of like throw yourself into it and be like, okay, if I'm selling this thing, I need to know what it is.
True, yeah.
But then also, like as a waitress, you learn very quickly, if you keep the back of house plied with coffees, they'll keep you plied with like anything that's overcooked, undercooked, come back, bowls of chips.
Yeah.
So there was always like a bit of a, like, you take an interest, you'd be like, wow, Jordan, that lamb looks delicious. Can I try some?
Have you been working out today?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Jordan, God, you as a chef, you're just absolutely fantastic.
The way you handle that knife.
Yeah, oh, chop them shallots. Like that
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of stuff. So then you, you keep them sweet, they keep you fed.
Yeah. Nice. Was there a time when you really had like a... Because no one cares about the good shifts at work, right? Everyone cares about the ones that went to hell. Is there any shift that really sticks out as one that was like, you know, maybe it's in your early days or maybe it's even later in the restaurant years that really sticks out as the shift from hell?
The shift, do you know what? There was a few. I think Christmas. Like
Oh, yeah,
Christmas.
it's a terrible time.
Oh my God. Because what you get is Christmas parties and no one knows what they've ordered because they ordered in June. So
Yeah,
then you're coming out. Like I literally got to the point with when you've got 16 businessmen that have all ordered a steak, and you get to the point where someone would go, Amy, you're going to have to run this table. And I'm like, right. I'd walk over with 2 steaks. I'm like, I've got 2 medium fillets, guys, 2 medium fillets. And someone would be like, a medium rare. And I'm like, it's not what I asked.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
2 medium fillets. I'll take a medium. Did you order a medium? Because if you haven't ordered a medium and you've ordered a medium well and you take this medium, this guy that's ordered medium, like a sane human, is going to end up with your medium well. So look at me now, John, and tell me, did you order a medium fillet? No. Right.
So don't fucking
stay
take this
there.
one. Yeah.
And it was like that. So I'd like to stand at the table and be like, only put your... Yeah, I'm like, yeah, medium rare. Because people, the thing is that people are daft. They think they're helping.
Yeah, they're not.
So they go, rare, fillet rare. Fillet rare, anybody? Oh, yeah, I'll have it. And they think, no, you're not doing me a favour. You're causing me a problem. Because you ordered yours well done, June. And now...
This is so relatable to me as well.
Now Mark's complaining that his fillet's massively overdone, which it is, because he ordered a rare, but you've got his rare. You're complaining it's... I'm like, just everyone,
Yeah.
listen to me and tell me what you've ordered. And if you need a sheet, who's got a sheet? And there's normally a woman called Jackie that's got a sheet. That's always good. You know,
Jackie.
when someone gets a sheet, like someone, like one of the like executive assistants comes out and they'll just come up to you and go, I've got a list of names, and you're like, I could kiss you right now.
It's so
they're
helpful.
Just like, yeah, so they're just telling everyone, being like, Mark, you had sticky toffee. Oh, I thought you had a trifle. Mark, you had sticky toffee. And I'm like, look, it's not me, it's Jackie. Like,
Speak to Jack. Yeah.
yeah, speak to Jackie, Mark, but you are getting sticky toffee.
The worst one I think I ever had was a party booked in of 40 people. Bear in mind, this is like a tiny little restaurant. You know, there's a TGI Fridays I used to work in, no secret. And we had like a big conservatory, and there was 40 people, and they all pre-ordered. Right, so obviously we had to space the bookings out because we're like, if we're getting 40 people's food out at once, it's like that's going to be a lot. And I remember that we got all the pre-order food, but not pre-order drinks. So by the time, I mean, obviously it was given to me because I was probably what I'd imagine that you were a bit like you were the go-to person for a lot of the worst jobs or the ones that could handle it the best.
Yeah.
You got them, right?
Like, she's been arsey.
Yeah.
Send Amy.
Yeah. So send Adam in, sort of. And by the time they got their drinks, some of them had finished their food. Like, it was horrendous. I had to ask for help from I got like 2 other servers in, bless them, and it was just like, it was chaos. And I was like, why? But do you know what it is? It's not even like, I don't even take responsibility for that. I'm like, you booked in a party 40 and expected me to get 40 drinks when your food's already started cooking before they even got in the restaurant. I'm like, well, I can't do that.
There's
so
the logistics. Did you ever have a recurring stress dream?
Mine was normally waking up at 3 a.m. going, fuck, I forgot table 86's meal.
Yeah.
That's normally what my head was.
Literally, sometimes, we used to do that. We used to I used to wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, they wanted ketchup.
Yeah. That's the worst, isn't it?
See, I had a really specific stress dream that used to recur frequently, and it was about one chef as well, right? He's called Gianni, right? I only worked with him for maybe 3 months, but he's the like focus of this stress dream because I think he used to stress me out the most. Mm-hmm. Basically, restaurant was full and I was in there, service just running like piece of piss. All the regular customers in, everyone's lovely chatting. And then one of the regular customers, they were called the Norths, right, put their hand up in my dream and went, do you know where our starters are? And then the table next to them went, I know if you're checking on theirs, will you check on ours? And I'm like, God, have you not? Bloody hell, I'm sure I put the check on. 2 secs, guys, I'll go check. And I walked to the kitchen and we had like a semi-open pass. And I looked in and I went, Gianni, do you? And the whole kitchen's in darkness. The solid tops are cold. Mm-hmm. And there's no chefs in there. And then I just turn around and go, and I look at this restaurant full of people, and every single person in the restaurant's just looking at me. And then I wake up in a cold sweat.
Daggers.
Same dream. It was always the same dream. Always the same chef.
Why him?
I don't know.
Did he do something wrong?
It was like, no, I just don't know why he's the focus of this dream. But that was it. I used to have that, like, maybe, once every few months.
Well, one thing I'm surprised that didn't pop up as a recurring dream was the one time you ruined someone's proposal. So can you tell us the story?
So, the crux of the matter is I ruined a proposal, right? Some say ruined, I say added to the story of how she got proposed to.
Yeah, she definitely tells that.
And I'm not taking full responsibility for this, right? Because there was a plan. Mm-hmm. We got a plan, which was this guy is going to propose and he wants your help. So we were like, what can we do? Mm-hmm. What can we do? And we were like, we could get flowers, we could get this, we could get that. And he was like, oh, he just wants it like really low key, da-da-da-da. And she was like, can you write anything on a cake? Can you make a cake? Can you do this? So we'd like come up with this little cake, and it was on a plate, and it was like, will you marry me? So the plan was, obviously, I ended up being like, you're serving them, Amy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, right, okay.
Obviously, yeah.
So we saw them come, and we were like, this is table 3, this is table 3. Oh my God, this is table 3. Like, so we were like, hi guys, you okay? Like, oh, nice.
Trying to pretend you don't know what's going to happen,
act natural, and we're all going, she does not know what's going to happen. So they sat down, everything was fine. He was like a little bit nervous, but the plan was there. The cake was made. There was will you marry me on the plate in chocolate. It was set. So they ordered, took the starters. Everything was going fine. Kitchen are like, which ones is it? And we're all like, get away from the pass, get away from the pass.
They're like looking around the corner.
Yeah,
right?
literally like the semi-open pass, and they're all like. So took the starters, cleared them, reset them for mains. Like chatting, get you some more drinks, guys. Yeah, no worries. Like popped them on the till. Bell went, 3's mains. Everyone's like, Amy, the mains. It's like, right, cool. So I picked them up, and we had these like fish pies, but they were in like these cast iron like things, and they were really, really hot, and they were really, really heavy. They used to put the whole thing in the oven. They were on these boards, so they were hard anyway. So I was like, oh, I'll take 2, because no one wanted to follow me with the second one, because they were like no one wanted to go near the table. So I was walking through the restaurant. I had these 2 bubbling fish pies in my hand, and as I walked to the table, I heard, but it just didn't register what I'd heard. I heard him say, will you make me the happiest man in the world? And will you? And before I could stop myself, I just went, fish pie!
I love it.
And I just saw them. And I know what they were sat on table 3, and she was sat here, and he was sat on the banquette seating, and they both just went. But then, instead of like catching myself in it, I just went, the fish pie.
Yeah, you're already in it at this point.
I was like, I'm in it, because I knew in my head I was walking at that table to ask who was having the fish pie, right? Or like to present the fish pie, because we both had it. So I was like, fish pies. And I couldn't stop. Like, it didn't register going in there for me just like blurting it out. And then I stood there and I looked at them and they didn't say anything to me. And I just went, oh God, were you just proposing? And he went, yeah. And I went, oh, have I ruined it? And he went, a little bit, yeah. And I went, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I just walked back to the kitchen. The chef said, what's the matter? Is it wrong order? And I just like remember putting the stuff on the pass and then just like sitting on the floor. And everyone just going, what's just happened? And I was like, he's just proposed. And everyone's the same. There was a plan. Why do they not want the cake? All this sort of stuff. No. And I went back over afterwards and I was like, I am so sorry. And then obviously when the dessert came out, like I ended up taking the dessert because then no one would touch the table. So I ended up taking the dessert and like I went back over and I was like, oh, there was a plan.
Surprise.
Like, I was like, look, it wasn't me being stupid. There was a plan. And then I said to the guy when he went to the toilet, I was like, it was supposed to happen at dessert. And he was like, I got stressed. And I was like, you got stressed? I feel terrible. And he was like, oh, we've got a story. And
well, at least he handled it a bit better afterwards.
He saw the funny
comedy
side
in
of
it,
it. But that initial fish pie will haunt me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had a fish pie since.
I was just going to say, have you ever had a fish pie since?
And I love fish pie.
How old were you when you did that? Was that?
I was probably like 21, 22. It was like a few years into it. It's like, should have known better.
But the thing that people don't realise about being a server is when you pick up those plates out the window and you go into the table, you're also thinking about the 3 things that you're going to do afterwards. So it's like, for you in that moment with those fish pies, like you said, it didn't register to put it down because you're going, well, this table needs this. I need to get refills for them. They need this. Manager shouting, or you've got something. Just there's like 6 things spinning around your head, and people don't see that. And
it's spinning plates.
Yeah, and I genuinely think everyone should. You can tell someone when you're like meeting new people, you can tell who's worked in a service industry with the public, and you can tell who hasn't. And the people who haven't need to do a shift. They need to do a busy Saturday, like a double shift where they barely get any food, they barely slept, and then they need to experience the full might of the general public and how like ridiculous they can be.
I see what they need to do. They need to work a Friday night till 11, go to your friend's 21st, drink, try and play catch up, and then turn up for a breakfast shift on a Saturday when you can't remember driving to work.
We had many instances of that. I think every server is like a little bit of an alcoholic, and every member of kitchen staff is either smokes horrendously, does drugs, or drinks endless amounts of energy drinks. That's the 2 dynamics. You've got the alcoholics out front, and you've got the smokers and the drug addicts in the back. That's genuinely how most kitchens run.
That's it, front of house, back of house.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
It's well,
cocaine.
Yeah, yeah. The front of house are one gateway drug away from just pure heroin.
We're on wine and secondhand smoke.
We haven't quite got the needles and stuff yet. Yeah. One thing that I loved about the mentality that you said is that if there's something that you're going to do it well. You said that to me on the phone. So is that something that you were raised with, or like how did that sort of mindset develop?
Do you know what? I think all the way through school, I was one of those people where I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't know. And there was people, like, there was girls that were like, yeah, I want to be a beautician. From being in year 9, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. And I always felt like all I wanted was to be held in like a high regard by peers.
Like
so
respect.
I was like, whatever I do. So like if I like whittled wood. In the whittling world, I wanted all the other whittlers to be like, fuck, she's good at whittling. And it's that, and it's sort of that. So that's why I think that, because I never knew really what I wanted to do, I was never like, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a midwife. Like, you know, it was always a case of, well, whatever I do or I end up doing, you just apply myself.
Fair enough.
But I think because when I started working, like I had to be a little bit self-sufficient. Like I had to make money, and I don't know whether I'm part of that last generation that like had to work. It wasn't a want.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I want pocket money, I want beer money, I want wine money, I want money to do nice things. It was like, no. I need to pay for a service. I need an MOT. And it was having that, and it was that sort of pride in what I was doing was like, I can't lose this job. So what do? You do it well.
It's kind of like the mentality now is, well, if you're going to pay us minimum wage, I want to put in minimum effort.
Minimum effort.
Yeah.
We heard that a lot in the restaurant. It was like people used to say like minimum wage, like minimum wage, minimum effort.
Yeah.
And I had such a pride in people as they walked out of the restaurant saying, she's lovely.
Or asking for you when they come back in next time, yeah.
And asking like how I was. Like I went on maternity leave, and like the girls at work used to just be like, I've answered more questions about your vagina today than I care. And it was just constant, like, and because I wear glasses, like, because I am quite sort of chatty, you get to know people.
Yeah.
But from that, I've, like, got so much from it. So, because it's a great way, because I love people, and I love talking to people, and I love, like, finding a common ground with someone. Like, you could pull up in a Lamborghini. I don't have a Lamborghini, but I'm like, what's our common ground? Turns out we both love The Office.
Yeah.
Like,
there's always something, yeah.
There's always something. So whether, like you said, whether you come in and you're a window cleaner or I interact with you, and I will always find something. That's like my mission when I speak to someone. I'm like, what have we got in common? So
what do you do that to make them comfortable, to make yourself comfortable? Like, what's the reason behind that, do you think?
Do you know what? I love people. Like, I'm so interested in people, and I think the more that you speak to people, the more you find out. Like, the amount of times I've spoken to somebody and then it turns out they do this, or it's like silly things like, I bought a van, and it's like someone's like, oh, my dad owns a van wrapping company, do you want it wrapping? I'm like, yes, ideal. That's how I've built the business.
Yeah.
Like, I've built the business on favours from people that don't do it. It's like my website, I didn't have a website for years, but when I decided that I was going to start the business, I drew a logo on one of the restaurant napkins, and I was like, I want it something like this, right? And I drew it on one of the napkins, and one of the girls was like, I think I've got Adobe on my laptop. She was like, do you want me to see if I can do that? Because I said, I don't know how to get it from this napkin to a computer.
Yeah.
And she was like, let me have a look. So she took the napkin home and then came in the next day and went, is that all right? And I was like, it's perfect. And that's what, like, I know I'm jumping forward a little bit, but when I was on the show, Gordon had critiqued my, like, branding, and he was like, look at you. You're so extrovert. Like, you're colourful.
Yeah.
Your logo's boring. And part of me was just like,
eat shit, Gordon.
I was like, you do not understand. Like, you don't understand what that logo, yes, it's basic. Yes, it's white. But there is a story behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I could put that logo on this jumpsuit and that'd jazz it up. But I was like, that logo, that napkin started everything.
Yeah.
And I'll never ever change it.
Well,
people message me all the time like, do you want to rebrand?
Yeah.
No.
I'm sticking with this.
This is it.
I don't think it's boring.
Well, it's just a spatula and a whisk, innit?
But
it is copyrighted.
For anyone listening,
for
it's
anyone
copyrighted.
out
You can't. There's nothing you can do now.
Asbestos, cease and desist.
But does Gordon Ramsay have a logo? He must have a logo. He probably has logos for his like the bread kitchen and all that stuff. But I don't recognize any of them. But
no, I just was like, it's so much more than what you see.
Yeah. I also love that we just name dropped Gordon rather than Gordon Ramsay. Like we're on first name terms.
Oh, what, me and G?
Top G. You know what I mean? Me and G. Yeah.
No, it's So
did you call him that to his face? Were you like, hey G, sup G?
Yeah, in my head, and then outwardly it came out as, hello Gordon, yes. Sorry Gordon, yes.
Sorry sir, yes. Yes chef, yes chef.
Yeah, I am an idiot. No.
Yeah, this is amazing. We'll definitely need to get on to him eventually, and we will. But more about you first. So the first time you make a Blondie, so walk me through how that began, where the sort of idea came from to just get all these stuff together, get the ingredients and make one. Like where did that sort of journey begin for you?
So I had Dalby in 2018 and I was so tired. Like I was so tired and I needed some sugar. Like I was breastfeeding. Albie barely slept and he still doesn't now. But I was just exhausted and I was like, do you know what? I loved cooking, I loved baking.
Yeah.
And there was one afternoon I just thought, oh, I'm going to make something. And I'd seen like a similar type of thing somewhere. And then I'd done my recipe and I actually didn't have enough of certain ingredients to put in. I didn't put stuff in, I sub stuff. And they came out and I tried one and I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, this is unbelievable. I was like, I've never tasted anything like that in my life. So obviously continue to eat like the vast majority of a tray. And I was going to a baby class on the afternoon. So I was like, oh, I'll take some, like for some of the mums. So took some and they were all like, what is it? And I was like, it's a Blondie. It's not a brownie, it's a Blondie. And then they were like, that's amazing. And I'd actually made some the next day as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, can we get some? My mum was like, you didn't save me any. And I was like, I promise you. So I made another tray. And then like, very quickly, I became very popular at baby groups. People would just be like, oh, you going to baby group on Tuesday? I'm like, yeah. Like, you fancy bringing some of them Blondies? And I was like, yeah, I can do. And I felt like I was making them for people because I'm a bit of a feeder, but I was making them for people. And then there was sort of saying like, oh, well, it's so-and-so's first birthday. So like, if I give you a £5, will that cover the ingredients? And I was like, oh yeah, I'll bring a tray of them. And then was like, this could be something. But I had like a lot of self-doubt. I was like, I can't do that. Like I'm a waitress. Waitresses don't start businesses. And
I get that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm literally a waitress. I'm a career waitress. I love it, but I'm a career waitress. So I decided, I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do the logo. I've come up with a name. I'm going to do the logo and I'm going to make 2 more flavours and then I'm going to post them on Facebook. So did all that. Got EHO.
What did you make a page for this, or did you just do the personal?
I made a Facebook page, and then posted the logo, and then posted like the 3 flavors, which I've got a photo in the bakery now. I've got a photo of my first ever like Facebook post. Nice. They look terrible. They don't look terrible, but like I feel like my product photography is highly elevated. From them.
You've got up a bit quality. Yeah.
But that's it. It's just there. The 3 flavours.
What were the 3?
It was a white Kinder Bueno, a Nutella, and a Reese's.
Ooh,
so they were all very nutty, but they're like my favourite thing ever. So posted it and then like sort of sat there going, oh, Auntie Judith's liked it.
Like, it's always a family member.
It's always a family member. And then, and then it just sort of, started off with a lot of family and then people going like, oh, bless her. Go on, we'll have some. And I was like, oh. And then family would take it to like friends and then their friends. But I could sort of map in my head who it was based on like who they were friends with. So I'd like look at someone. So I'd be like, oh, Jackie, who's that? Oh, well, she's friends with so-and-so and so-and-so. And I sold them to her. So yeah, that's probably how she knows.
Yeah.
But then like very quickly, I didn't recognise the names.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when like the orders started coming in a little bit more. And I got like all the insurances to do markets, did like a little pop-up shop.
Yeah. What was it like being
just-
behind that sort of counter, a little pop-up store?
It was unbelievable because I was just stood there. And I said the same thing. From my very first market, the very first day of opening the shop and everything thereafter, I was like, my heart's on that counter. Like every day. But that first time putting them out there, and you see people, and this is when you go to farmers markets or anything, I'm always so aware.
Yeah.
You hear stuff, and people think they're being quiet and they're not. So like I remember, I think the first one I did, I just wanted to sell them. So I think it was like, oh, £1.50 each or 4 for whatever.
Yeah.
And like people would come past and go, 150, do you want one? Nah, I'm all right. And like sort
That
of,
must be so annoying.
and you go like you sort of stood there going, like
Yeah. Well, I was at a the Tynemouth market. So there was a stall by someone who was on The Apprentice or something like that, and I just
that
happened to.
ridiculously rich by Alana.
I think so, yeah. And I like looked at one, and I caught the guy's eye, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to buy one now because I feel guilty if I just go. Looks nice that, yeah, no worries, an offer. You know what I mean? So I understand that, but what's it like on the other side of that? To when you hear those comments, are you just like, oh, did you try and persuade people to buy, or?
Oh, I am.
That was a stupid question. Of course, you tried to.
When I'm on a market, it's like nothing. My mum's like, she struggles to be on a market with me because she's like, it's a lot of energy, and I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing worse than looking disengaged from your product. And that's why I do the markets, because I'm like, nobody can sell them like I can sell them.
Yeah.
And like the girls in the shop are unbelievable. Like they're so good and they love the product. And half the time I'm like, you don't have to have any experience. I'm like, if you like my product, I like you. Like I can teach you everything else, but you can't teach personality and a passion.
Yeah.
So when we're at the markets, I'm stood up. Like my mum brings a little deck chair, bless her. She brings like a camping chair, and
Nice.
I'm like, you stay there, that's fine. 4 boxes, like, you know, she go get the restocks and stuff. But I'm like, if I'm at a market for 7 hours, I'm standing for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Every single person gets a hello. Every single person gets a smile. I feel like one of those pageant kids, you know, like Vaseline on the teeth, where I'm just like,
it's like Uncanny Valley, that, isn't it? Just staring, yeah.
But it is, but you have to, because the thing is, it's like, if you want people to spend money, look like you want to be there.
Yeah. Well, people buy people as well.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things, yeah.
And so, but you do like hear things like when people walk past, or they'll sort of say, like, oh, no, I don't fancy them, they don't look. But that to me is, like, if a boyfriend comes and goes, not like I say like a boyfriend, like I've got a million boyfriends. That's not what I meant.
Occasionally a couple of your boyfriends will pass.
Yeah, just a few boyfriends come. But like someone's like boyfriend will go like, oh, I'm going to get one of them. They'll go like, oh, babe, do you want one? And then she's like, no. I'm like, you're like locked on. I'm like, what sort of things do you like? And then they'll sort of come a bit closer, and you see them. They're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, right, go-to chocolate bar. What is it? And they're like, oh, I like Milky Ways. I'm like, right, well, this one's got this in it. This is this. This is everything's like a take on something. I'm like, what was your favourite dessert at school? Or cornflake tart. That's a cornflake tart, Blondie. School dinner, cake. That's a school dinner, Blondie. Like, do you like jam? Yeah, brilliant, Jammy Dodger. I'm like, literally, when people come and go, I don't fancy one. I'm like, there is a Blondie on here for everyone.
Yeah.
Someone goes, I'm not a sweet person. I go, cool, get a Reese's. Because the peanut butter, it's not as sweet. My dad doesn't like sweet stuff, but he loves them.
Yeah.
It's like, it is quite carefully curated when we do a counter as to nut options, no nut options, sweeter ones, fruitier ones, ones that the kids will like, ones that trigger, so people just go, oh, Biscoff, I know Biscoff.
Yeah.
it is carefully curated. It's not just a case of whack a load of things on.
Yeah,
I make it a mission.
Well, the best thing about that is you are doing what is key in sales, and that is finding out what they're actually in the market for. Because most people, when it comes to selling, I'm sure you've seen people do this, is they will try and sell something like a really hard sell to someone that's shown either very little interest or it's completely out of whatever they want. Like, have you seen The Wolf of Wall Street before?
Yes.
Yes, you know the sell me this pen
Yeah.
thing? For anyone that hasn't, basically there's a scene where Jordan Belfort goes, sell me this pen. And everyone's going, oh, it's a fantastic pen, it writes upside down, it defies gravity, all this stuff. And the correct answer is, are you in the market for a pen? And if someone says, yeah, then you can ask them, what kind of pen? And it leads them to more. Like you were doing, what flavors do you like? What does this remind you of? Da-da-da. And it's like, if you don't ask the right questions, you're not going to sell to the right people.
Yeah.
You got to find that correct audience, 100%.
That's it. It's like my favourite question is, it's like, what sort of things do you normally like? And then they'll say that, and they'll say it. But a lot of like my flavours, there is like stories to them. There is like a nostalgia there.
Yeah.
And I like everything to look like what it tastes like. So I've got this thing about the top, like the top of the Blondie. I'm like, it has to look like what it tastes like. I realise I'm saying like quite a lot, but
That's all right.
It's like I need people to look and see, and I rarely put cards out because it prompts people. They look appealing. And I don't
like
just
that.
put a thing out going Jammy Dodger Biscoff, blah blah blah, putting prices up.
Yeah.
I never put cards out as to what things are. I'm like, ask me.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It
Once I start
prompts
talking to
conversation,
you,
yeah.
You're walking away with 24 blondies.
Nice.
But it is, and it's not like, it's not it's not like, it sounds a bit like,
It's not manipulative,
calculated,
yeah.
It's not manipulative.
Yeah.
It's genuinely,
It's
like,
sales.
I want to find you something that you go, oh my God, they were amazing.
Yeah.
How do I order them? Or, oh, she's at this market, let's go there. That's what you want.
Yeah. But what's interesting is you did this all from your kitchen with one mixer, which is crazy. So what was your average day like when you were making these? When you had your stall? When you started making them a real thing? Like, what was how busy were you with this one little mixer of yours?
Well, it depends because we've got like the pre-COVID.
Yeah, let's go pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, it was chill and manageable. Mm-hmm. So I'd get up on a morning. Obviously, Albie was, how old was he? 1, 2. I could sort of, the best thing about it was, all I ever wanted to do was sell 4 trays a week at £12, and I could drop a shift at the restaurant.
Yeah, I like that thinking. Yeah. How much do I need to cover this? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, if I don't work Friday nights or I don't work Saturday nights, what would I have earned? And then it meant that I had that time with Albie. So I'd be like soft play, da-da-da. And if I needed to start baking at 8 p.m, I'd start baking at 8 p.m, but I had that whole day with him.
Yeah.
And I put him to bed, or I did stuff before he got up. Or if there was, like, if we were doing a pop-up shop, I would say to my mum, look, would you be all right to have him on Friday while I bake?
Yeah.
So it was manageable. Mm-hmm. And then it became unmanageable.
Yeah, so let's talk about the COVID times, because I'll let you tell it. So when COVID started, what sort of happened with your business?
So I'd posted that as long as I could get the ingredients, I was going to continue to bake. And then people started buying, but then obviously because everyone was at home on the phones, there was like nothing else to do. And in my like area, people were walking for like an hour and a half to get to my house to pick up blondies to walk back, because you were allowed 1 walk a day. They didn't specify how long that walk could be,
or what you got on that walk. Yeah.
Or like across thingy lines,
Across state lines.
Yeah, across state lines. So yes, people were sharing more, and which was amazing. But there was one point where I'd got a message from a footballer who sort of said to me, so it was Easter weekend, fully booked. I'd already capped my orders. I think I'd gone from 600 followers to like 1,800 followers just within, and then we went into Easter. So I got this message, and it was like, hiya, I've seen this thing. I want to do this thing. I want to take 100 pizzas and 200 blondies or 150 something blondies. I want to take them to the local hospital for Easter weekend because it's a 4-day bank holiday. Obviously, they're all working.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And he was like, so can I have them for tomorrow? This was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'd finished baking already. And I was just like, how can I say no? So I worked. I must have done it till about 2 a.m.
You said it took you about 19 hours to do all this.
So it was like a 19-hour like work day in the end because I'd just finished baking, started doing that, went to bed, got up, boxed everything, did all the other orders as well, and then he came, picked them up, and I was like, oh, finally,
relief.
I can relax. And I was sat in the garden with Dalby because obviously the weather was mint, and I started getting messages from like nurses and stuff, just being like, oh my God, these are absolutely phenomenal. These are incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And part of me was sat there going, I don't know why I'm being thanked because you're literally going and putting your life at risk every day. And I'm currently sat in my garden playing with a bubble gun. So like, Albie was in bed. That was just me playing with a bubble gun. So
is that man wants to know bubbles in this? Or I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know. Use some fairy liquid. So I started getting these messages and I was like, oh God, I feel really heartwarmed. And then later on the night, I think the papers had picked up the story and I was sat having tea and like my ex-partner was like, your phone's ringing. I was like, it's not because it'd come up on my watch. And he was like, it's ringing. I was like, it's not ringing. This is COVID, living with someone that you're now separated with. It's not ringing. It is. It's not. So yes, I was like, it's not ringing, and I picked it up, and I felt like it was just going bzz, 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 follower, comment, follower. Hi, can I order? Hi, can I order? And I looked, and the page had been tagged, and I'd gone from like 1,800 to like 6,500.
That's a hell of a jump.
But with that, if you think like proportionately, if you get 6,500 followers, if 2% of those people want to order, that's still a shitload of orders.
Yep.
And it wasn't just that; it was like questions. It was like, what are they?
Yeah.
How much are they?
I've seen them. They look nice. What are
Yeah,
they?
even though there's like a menu, order process on the page and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, people don't want to read.
Yeah. The best one I get is HM ? I'm like, HM. How much?
Really? Oh, fuck.
I was like, oh, block.
That's
if you can't even use.
Just use real English. Like, but that's the thing though. Did you find
how much with a question mark is a rude question?
And it's like, hi, how you doing? Hope you're well. How much are these? I'm interested. You know, that would be a bit more than just HM. That's ridiculous.
HM.
I'd understand that if you were selling like some second-hand pair of sweaty shoes on Facebook Marketplace, but not if you're selling, you know.
If I was selling second-hand sweaty shoes on Marketplace, there'd be a hell of a lot more than my blondies. I'll tell you that much. £1,000. I've worn them in the bakery.
TV stores, shoes.
Just sweaty Crocs.
Nice. Do you have a pair of Crocs, do you?
Oh my God, I love Crocs.
I love my Crocs. I got Croc lights for Christmas in my stocking.
No, you did
Yeah,
not.
little headlights for my Crocs. They're amazing.
Someone just sent me the snowplow ones. They were like, oh, next week.
I've seen them.
You and the snowplows.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I had to throw my Croc liners away. So currently it is a bit cold for my actual Crocs. But I'm massively...
They replaced my slippers because they're just comfy.
Well, they started off as house shoes. And then
now they're everywhere.
Now they're everything shoes.
I wear them in the office when it's a bit warmer than it is now, but they're just comfy. So yeah,
they're just like a proper baker's shoe. I'm like, oh, what's that? An egg cracked on them? No worries.
Just
dripping
through that hole.
I'm just like, yeah. Honestly, sometimes if I'm like, I gather them all, and I'm like, come on, we all need a wash, guys. I'll stick them in the bottom of the shower while I'm in the shower.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
They just run, and then I'm like, someone goes, new Crocs. I'm like, no, I showered with them. Thank you for noticing.
There's people listening going, you are disgusting, you people. But I don't care because Crocs are comfortable. I'm sick of pretending that they're not cool.
They're not.
People wear them in the gym. They're gym shoes now as well. I don't recommend wearing Crocs in the gym because if you drop something on your foot, that's going to provide zero levels of protection.
But they're just great. It's just like I get why old people wear slip-on shoes.
Yeah.
Like hands-free shoeage. If you've got honestly, if I'm like... got my arms full of stuff and I'm trying to get out the house and I'm like, Albie, please get out the house. Where's your coat? Right, bang, there. Where's your water bottle? Bang. Where's my laptop? Where's my bag? Oh, God, there's a packet of eggs. And then I stand up and go, oh, God. I'm like, no worries. Slip.
That sounds like the perfect Croc advert. Crocs needs to pick that up, and
Crocs
it's
needs to
just
fill
you.
my mornings leaving the
it's
house.
just you in this chaos of getting your son ready and carrying all the stuff, and going, I haven't got my shoes on, but wait, I have Crocs. And
and they're never in sport mode. They're always
sport
in like
mode.
relaxed mode because you
Yeah.
know I'm not a sportsman, so
only people who own Crocs know about sport mode Crocs.
sport mode Crocs.
Sport mode Crocs. I
There's
can run
very
pretty
few
fast in my Crocs.
I can run so fast in my Crocs. If you've ever been at a park and seen your child fall off a slide and you're wearing Crocs, you're like, bang, barking them. That's the worst though. Don't wear Crocs in the park because the bark. Have you ever experienced this?
I haven't. No.
So sometimes if you're out and about, you get sort of your Crocs. They're not there for you. And I've got like quite high arch in my foot. And so many times, like a stone or a bit of bark or something goes in. So you're just like walking down the road, wearing your Crocs, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what was that? And I'm like, oh my God, a piece of bark has pierced the inside of my arch.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, I get
it's
that.
a struggle.
I've had stones in there as well
I
because I
might
took
try
my
and
grease.
get like defenders for them. You know,
Just
like
wrap them up on the outside. Yeah,
just like a little, like a barricade.
There probably is. Maybe you could start your own
It's all the
Etsy. Maybe
time.
you could. You know what we need? We need blue Blondie Bakery branded Crocs.
I know.
Well, Greg's did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be good. Greg's did a collaboration with Greg's. Why couldn't they do one with you? You know what I mean?
Well, I know. I mean, I will if Primark are watching. I'm well open.
Yeah.
Well open to a collaboration with Primark. So,
Fantastic.
You know.
Amazing. Well, we'll definitely pitch that to them. But at one point you were making 50 trays a day. Is that right? So what kind of mental and physical strain does that take on you?
It's a lot because it's exactly what we were saying about being a server.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about one thing. You're thinking about 13 things.
Yeah.
So I might be stood and I've got 2 mixers going. I'd bought a second mixer, but I could still only make 3 trays at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So in your head, you've got timers for chocolate. You've got, I'm stood. Honestly, I'm in my head now. I'm standing in this old kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stood, chopping chocolate. I've got 3 ready to get flavoured, but the oven's going off because they need a turn. But then your mixers are still on for your next ones. And it's that constant, like I might be stood staring into space and I'm going, 4 minutes on that oven, do that, then's that, what's that, right, oh, hang on, ran out of Nutella, need to go restock on Nutella.
Yeah.
And it's like a constant just like, what's happening next? You are just plate spinning. But then on top of that, you go, I need to go to the wholesaler, how many sacks of sugar have I got? How many Kinders have I got? When are the cake boards coming back in stock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all that
That's a
sort of
lot,
stuff. But
yeah.
then whilst that's going on, your phone's just going bing, bing, bing.
And your son wants attention and needs
then my
stuff.
son's there, and then also everyone collected from my house. So
Must
in
be
between
doorbells
that,
going.
the doorbell's going.
Jesus.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
It was very, very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It was. But then when he started going to nursery, I could almost just condense my day. So I used to get up. Well, I used to get up, go to the gym, come home. He'd still be asleep or just waking up, get ready, and then take him to nursery, come home, start baking. And as long as everything was out the oven and like cleaned down, that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'd pick him up from nursery, take him somewhere, soft play park, go meet friends, food shopping. Because on top of that, I'd also still like to feed him.
Yeah, and you've also got to have a little bit of a life, yeah.
So annoying. So I'd go do that.
How dare you need feeding, son.
God's sake, man. Stick your own pizza in the oven. No, to be fair, we had to buy like a Ninja foodie because we couldn't use the oven because it was always on. So I'd do that and then I'd come home, make his tea, and then once he was sort of settled and having his like wind down time, then I'd start decorating. So in between him, anytime he was quiet, I'd be like, get the peanut butter on them. And then he'd be like, look at this. And I'm like, oh yeah, come on.
Yeah.
And it was just like that. And then he'd go to bed and then I'd come downstairs, I'd start portioning, doing the admin, making boxes.
Because you've also got to keep track of if you're doing it legally, you got to keep track of everything that comes through and or who needs what day they pick up. Yeah, it's just horrendous. Yeah.
Chasing payments. Like,
yeah.
honestly, I was like bloody Adele. like Chasing Payments. I used to sing it, and I was like, "Oh, she's not bad," but like, I'm just chasing payments.
Did you have like music on while you did all this cooking and stuff, or did you just do it in deathly silent focus mode?
So I need a constant sound in my ear to focus.
Mm-hmm.
So it was podcasts.
Anyone in particular?
Oh God, I went through. It got to the point where I was just like, I can't. Shag, Married, Annoyed. Like unbelievable, like so good. What else? I like murdery ones. Anything murdery, brilliant. What did I used to listen to? Sexted My Boss. Dad Wrote a Porno. But I needed.
There's a theme going through these, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's comedy. I was like, someone make me laugh because I'm gonna cry.
If I don't laugh, I'll cry.
Yeah, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But yeah, it was always things like that, or like some sort of in-depth, psychoanalytical one, or being like the mind of a murderer. While
you're baking in the kitchen.
If my AirPods used to run out, I used to have to put it on like a speaker. So then be like in the kitchen, so everyone's like outwardly this is pitchy, like, oh, look at her homely mother, like, oh, look at her baking, doesn't that look? And then they look through the window, and inside they're like, her dismembered body was left thrown into the reeds for the dogs to find. And I'm like, like happy.
The two don't go together.
Yeah.
No, I
have to, like, I need that constant that I can control in that ear to actually focus.
I feel like there's a few people like that. I'm a little bit similar. I prefer to work with music. Sometimes I get a bit annoyed and have to turn it down, but as long as it's just there in the background, sometimes I'm like, you know what, this is helpful. Not too loud, not too quiet, but just enough where I'm like, it's keeping us, like, it's almost like the world kind of folds in a little bit. It's a weird feeling. The's probably people that are going, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, and other people are going, I'm going to fucking clue, mate. Yeah, you're insane, mate. You're insane.
But I'm like that with the telly. Like, I can't really sleep without a TV on or an iPad, so I've normally just got an iPad on in my bed. But then the minute the audio changes, so like, say for example, like an advert comes on or anything changes from that like level, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah,
well, I used to do a lot of guided meditation from YouTube, and you sat there and you're in your chill space, and there's like this calm music playing, there's water flowing, and you just sat like, breathing in, breathing out, and then it's like, Frank's the floor install, carpets, and you're like, fuck,
I love carpets, mate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're like, Jesus Christ, it's the least meditating thing you've ever.
Yeah, I'm like, it's The Office for me. Like, I normally wake up every time like the theme tune comes back on, because it's like kicks in, then I'm like dun 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 dun, dun. Yeah, it
just sticks. 100%. So at one point you were sending people out to get ingredients for you, and you actually mentioned that you went through, I don't know how precise you were with these, but you said 1,236 eggs in just 4 weeks.
No, that is exactly how many eggs I used.
Was that through COVID? Was it
that
after?
Was 1 month in lockdown.
Just a month into lockdown?
No. There was like... we were in lockdown still. And, was it 1,300?
1,236 eggs.
1,236 eggs. That's how many.
I can just imagine you having all these at once, just stacks of eggs on that.
Yeah, I did. There was literally a photo.
Jesus.
And so every egg tray was 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like restocked on eggs. And then at the end of the month, I was like, that, and then I like worked it out, and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then looked at how many was left on top, and I was like, jeez, that's how many eggs I've used. And to be fair, the stack of them was like this, so I was like, take a picture of that. I was quite proud of that.
You have to show me that picture. I'll try and put it on the screen as well. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I go through 16 eggs a week. That's just eating them. So I couldn't imagine. How many would that be? I'm shit at maths. I can't divide that before.
Really bad at
somebody in the comments will divide that 1,236 eggs by 4 and see how many eggs that was a week. I should have probably worked that out beforehand, but there you go. So moving on to feature food stars, right? So obviously at this point, it's 2022. Is that early 2022? Is that right?
It would have been 21.
Like late 21?
Yeah, it'd have been coming to the end of 21.
Yeah. So obviously at that point you're working from your kitchen. You've got no staff, no premises. It's just you. So what makes you want to apply for this show? Like, who told you about it? Where did you find it? And what sort of went through your mind during the initial application stage?
So I got... Well, actually, funnily enough, I'd got a message on Instagram off someone asking if I wanted to go on Blankety Blank. And I was just like, what? And they were like, oh, do you fancy going on a new series of blankety blank? And I was like, oh, no, I'm fine, thank you. Unless it's catchphrase, in which case I will definitely do catchphrase because I'm 100% winning that super catchphrase.
I thought you were just going to say Stephen Mulhern.
No, I'm not doing. I'm definitely winning Stephen Mulhern's heart. No, I'm so good at catchphrase.
Nice.
Right, but anyway, I was like, no, unless it's catchphrase. Anyway, a week or so later, I got a message off the same way because I think there is like casters out there on like Instagram, sort of like it wasn't Love Island.
Looking for talent.
Yeah, like just looking for talent and class.
Sophistication
and, great blondies. So I'd got a message being like, oh, I'm not casting this, but would this be something you're interested in? And sent me this like thing. And I remember being sat in the kitchen. I'd not long finished baking. I think I was just like, I'd made a coffee. And I was like, and it was one of those moments. I always call it like my Slumdog Millionaire moment.
Yeah.
So it was like, do you have a food business? I was like, yep. And it was like, have you got a passion for developing that food business? I was like,
tick.
Yeah. And it was like, do you want £150,000? I was like, yes.
Should have started with that question.
Yeah, should have started with that. And it was like, do you want £150,000? I was like, yeah. And it was like, do you want to work with Gordon Ramsay? I was like, fuck yeah. Where do I start?
Was there a tick box option for fuck yeah as well?
Yeah,
was
yeah. No, I added that. Screenshot it. Drew it on. Fuck yes. So there was like a link to the application form, but like I had this moment, and I didn't tell anybody that I'd applied. So I'd had this moment where I was reading it, and I went through the application form, like scanned it, and I thought, I'm going to fill this application form out, and I'm getting on that show. And I don't know what it was. It was like this moment where I just went, every single thing in my life up to this point, like every skill set that I've had from all these experiences that I thought were like to be embarrassed about. Because I think when you do get to like your late 20s and you're still working in a restaurant, people start going to you, so what's next?
I used to fucking hate that. People used to go to me, so do you have a real job?
Yeah. Why are you doing this? I'm like, because I love it and I'm good at it. I remember having an argument with someone about it before. Not an argument, but saying to a customer, like, I like my job. Have you enjoyed tonight? Would you have enjoyed it if it was like someone that didn't care about the job? I was like, I like it. This works for me. But like everything, so like all the experience like in the restaurant and like the way I'd sort of set up the business, I felt like everything lent all of those skills towards what they were looking for in the show.
Yeah.
So I'd filled out the application form and I got an email that night saying, are you free for a chat in the morning? And I was like, yes. So I had the chat with them again, still hadn't told anybody. They explained like the premise of the show. They sort of explained as well that it would mean with like COVID restrictions and stuff that before you even enter your application and you want to move forward, you will be away for potentially 2 months and you won't have any contact. You'd be in a COVID bubble, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So like before we go any further, would that be okay? We're aware you've got a child. And I was like, yeah. And then...
Did that bug you at all that you'd be away in that moment? Did it bug you that you'd be away from Albi?
It didn't feel real. Like, I'm not going to lie, it didn't feel real till I went. Or the day before I went. But then it's this thing where if you'd have said to me, you're going to go away for 2 months and you're not going to speak to Albi, then I'd have been like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
But it could have been a week. It could have been 2 weeks. It could have been 5 weeks. And it was the constant. It was like working things week to week. So if I'd have gone home week 3, I would have got to see him. So that was like the bonus. That was like the good thing about it.
Yeah.
But I think if you'd have told me before it is going to be 8 weeks, I potentially would have been more like apprehensive about doing
questioned it a bit
but
more.
It was always this question mark. It was like, well, you could go week 1. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I could go week 1. So it might just be 5 days, 6 days.
Did you have an idea in your head of how far you would make it, did you think? Was it, or did you just think, I'm just going to see this whole thing through?
I genuinely, I walked into that show, and I think I was the only person from the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of 2 people that weren't from London or the South. I was the only person without a premises. I was the only person without staff.
Yeah.
And I was just in absolute, like, awe of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, like, talking about business stuff. Like, in our downtime
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah,
they'd
yeah.
be going, like, also, you know, this, like, VAT thing, and do you know there's this, like, VAT... And I was going, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have no idea. But that made me just go, you need to up your game.
Hmm.
You
Because,
really
well, they
need
say
to up
if
your
if
game.
you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So.
Well, yeah. But it was like that. It was like, I need to really try. But it's the same thing. It's just like that whole thing again. It's like, if I'm going to do something, I just wanted to leave the show knowing that there was physically nothing more that I could have done. I didn't want to leave with regrets.
Yeah.
I wanted to just be like, do you know what? If I can honestly say, hand on heart, that I gave 110% to that and I go second week, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I can live with that. But if I go and I think, I could have done this different, I should have done that, all of this sort of stuff, then I would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I need to just give it 110. Just be nice. I was just like, just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. Don't try and pretend that you know this and you know that, and try and pretend that you're like you're the person.
Yeah. Like you're
It's
the
like-
shit. Like.
Yeah, it's sort of like actions speak louder than words. It's like someone can go, like, oh, I'm the best at this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the best. And I'm like, okay, so do it. Like, do it.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
people
yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
Let people go, Jesus. Like,
You
you're
actually are good, yeah.
Like that, you are really good at that, aren't you? It's sort of that side of things.
You can
so-
humbly brag. I mean, it's like, that's what I love about his other Ramsay's other shows, like Kitchen Nightmares and stuff, right? And they're going to like, what's Gordon going to think of your food? And they're like, oh, he's going to love my food. It's going to be amazing. And it's like, well,
No,
have you ever watched the show before? Like, you know, he's going to critique the shit out of this, and
Yeah.
it's going to be dog shit. Yeah.
That was it. I just was like, I was like, I just need to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know something, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Because I think there's nothing worse. Because I think when people do go like, yeah, like, I'm amazing. You know, like, sometimes like watch The Apprentice, he's like, I would, like, Lord Sugar's going to want to invest in me. And then you just go, oh, he's going week 1. He's going week 1.
That's the next show for you, though, isn't it? The Apprentice. That would be good, yeah.
Oh, no, I think I'm done. I'm done with...
I'm done with reality TV for a while. Yeah.
I'm like happy in my little bubble. But no, it's that thing. It's like sometimes the higher you get, the more people want you to fall. But if you're literally going out there and being like, I'm going to smash this, I'm doing this, like, I'm the best, someone just goes, oh, I'd love them to trip over.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like, because no one likes the bragginess. I think everyone on, you know, the social media influencer world is very much that. Like, look at my expensive car. Look, I'm in Dubai. Look at this. And then, like, the reality is, we all want that authentic person. I actually have a question coming up about your authenticity, actually, in the show that I watched. So, but it is true that we do want that authenticity. And I think when I watch the clips of you on the show, maybe it's just a bias because obviously I knew you, and I'm like, you know, I could hear the accent coming through from the north, and I was like, that's my girl. Go on, go for it. You know what I mean?
She is. BBC, baby.
Yeah, I'm like, represent. What was it like when Gordon pulls up on that motorbike at the start? Like, was that the first time you'd seen him? Like, or anything? Was that the first time he?
First time.
Yeah. What was that experience like from when you saw him like rocking up, looking like?
Honestly, I thought he was a robot. Not because he's robotic, but you sort of go, like,
that can't be him.
It's not him. You're like, hang on a minute. Like, there's one Gordon Ramsay in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sat with him. I'm stood with him.
Yeah.
It was.
It's like Madame Tussauds.
Yeah, it was. It was like, you know, like you see those like scare videos where like David Beckham's like, everyone's taking photos with the waxwork and then he just slips in behind, like,
Yeah.
hey. But it was a bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, you knew in your head, it's like someone going, you brought up with Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay. It's
National
one
treasure.
of those names that's like, you know, I mean, I looked back on, something came up and it was like 17 years ago, memory on Facebook. I'd made like nachos at college and I'd just put, just call me Gordon. Like that, that thing, it's that sort of like juxtaposition between being like that and everyone knows him, everyone knows his face, and then you know you're about to meet him, but then he walks in, you go, God, is it? Like it
looks
it's
different
so
in
weird.
person. He looks taller on the TV than
He's a handsome guy. Like he's genuinely, he's got such an aura about him.
Yeah.
Like he's I honestly I'm in awe of him.
Yeah. So what is Gordon Ramsay like to be around? What's he like in person? What's he like to sort of
He's like a
tutelage under, I guess you could say.
He's like a force. He's like a bit of like a force field. Like you can't help but just be, you're drawn in, but you're listening, but then you're taking from it. Mm-hmm. It's such a hard experience to actually describe. Lovely, really nice guy. Mm-hmm. Really thoroughly best experience of my life working with him, and I felt like when you asked a question, he listened.
You didn't berate you for asking.
No, didn't berate for asking. He's just genuinely almost like superhuman. Mm-hmm. Like when he walks into a room, you feel it. You might not see him walk in, but you feel his presence. It's like everyone just goes because he's there.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's
power right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing, but it was amazing to like watch and learn.
Yeah.
And like I saw the way he talked to like the crew and I sort of take that now into, I don't know, he always said hello.
Yeah.
I always like shook people's hands, and I always think it's like
it adds to him, yeah. Well, the scene at the beginning where you were all standing outside and he sort of goes through everyone's name. He obviously must have took the time to learn that, or did you say your name and then he repeated it and they edited that way, or
no.
he knew everyone's name?
He knew everyone's name.
Nice.
But I think
when he said your name, were you like,
no, wait. so they were all stood there, and it was all this like, so he pulled up, and the order in which he spoke to people was edited differently.
Right.
So in actual real life, Gordon Ramsay rocks up on a motorbike where all these people stood there. I've already established that I'm the only person that bakes out of a house. And he's like, so, Amy. And I just thought, why me? Why am I first? I hadn't heard anything that anyone else had said. Mm-hmm. But you just sort of, it's that fight or flight thing where you go, I can either stand here and just stare at him and drool, or I can talk. And I just sort of went, oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, can you imagine that on the TV? I was like,
imagine
like Homer Simpson drool.
Amy.
Yeah, literally just stunned like deer in headlights. Yeah. Yes, Gordon.
But yeah, it was that sort of like deer in the headlight moment where you just think, I'm gonna have to say something.
Yeah,
and make it sound semi alright.
Yeah.
But
did you get any one-to-one time with him off camera, or was it just when the cameras are on, he's there, when they're off, he's gone?
Yeah, no, so it was always around, but we were always busy. We were always like doing challenges, or like there's obviously, it's a massive process.
Yeah.
And there's like things going and people are filming voxes, or you know, people are like off doing the like little one-to-one interviews, or Gordon's filming with somebody.
There's always something going on.
He was always there.
Yeah.
I will say we were always there before him. So we had to do
Fashionably
like
late.
2:30 a.m. wake ups to get somewhere, but no, like genuinely, I don't think that he understands what he's given me, and I don't think he's aware of what he's given me. Like that, I will then have and will continue to take.
Yeah.
Like throughout the rest of my life and business career.
Excellent.
It's like invaluable.
Yeah. I mean, you need to get around those people. Like, if you can learn from anyone, well, like, I've met several of the YouTubers that I used to watch. Not like, hung out with them, but I've done their courses, or I've went to see them speak and then got to speak to them afterwards. And that level of teaching, energy, and attention that you can give them is amazing. And what you can learn from just being around them and the way they act, the way they go on, like. You probably do some things. I mean, I'm hoping you don't go around your bakery calling people idiot sandwiches and absolute donkeys. Just straight up,
straight punch in the face.
Fair enough. Just like me that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that slightly overcooked? Bang. Jab.
That's what you wish you could do to the general public, isn't it?
I love them. No. I'm quite chilled. Like sometimes they'll go like, oh, so we had a bit of an incident, so I'd put eggs in, but then so and so put eggs in, and I'm like, so. We've had a bit of and I'm like, it's fine.
You donkey!
You idiot! No, I'm like, it's fine because it's nothing. Because I've worked in the business from the ground up. Every little mistake, that gets made, I've made 10 times over.
Yeah, so you understand. You've been in their shoes several hundred times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
There was one time someone did put far too. I think there was 16 eggs in.
Jesus.
And there should have been 4. And I don't know.
How do you miscount that?
Don't ask. Especially because we count the yolks. But anyway, we were bouncing it off the kitchen floor because there was that much elasticity. Honestly, it just went so spongy, and I was like, see how high we can get this to bounce.
Yeah, the Blondie Bakery basketball tryout.
Yeah. Yeah. BBA.
Yeah, literally. God, there's so many entrepreneurial ideas coming out of this show.
I know, yeah. Trademark.
Yep. Trademark straight away. Copyright. Yep. One of the things I during the first episode as well, I really saw the sort of when you mentioned the authentic side, right? So there was a bit that I really enjoyed that I had to pause because I laughed too much. Was Sophie and Craig, right? Yeah. You were discussing the whiskey and stuff that you were putting on this nice spread outside, and he wanted whiskey and he ran a bar and all this. Mm-hmm. And Sophie was like, "Oh, I've never ran a bar, but I think this would be nice with elderflower or something like that." And you and Craig were just like, the fuck? Let him deal with it. He knows what he's talking about. And the bit that got me was she puts I think it was some sort of flour or something. It might have been elderflower. She puts it in on the top of the whiskey. She's like, "Oh, that looks nice." And he went, "Looks like it's just fallen off a tree." And I was just like, that is the best way to handle that kind of. It looks like it's fallen off a tree. I'm not gonna lie, it looks shit.
Yeah. That was stressful because that's the thing. It's like you meet people that day.
Yeah.
First time you've met. You're trying to not work everyone out, but you're just sort of learning what they do. And then obviously at this point we'd been split into 2 teams, so I'd had no interaction with the other team at all till about a week or so later.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're sort of all trying to be polite, but then also being a bit I know what you're saying, and it sounds like a great start. Mm-hmm. Maybe it does need something on the top.
That didn't need twig. Yeah, but it looked stupid. I was like, maybe he's put something on the rim or a bit of orange on top of the whiskey or something like that, but not a full on. She just dipped the plant in, the bits are coming off, and I'm like, no one wants that with their whiskey. Just trust the guy that knows.
So
but
bad.
Was there any more of a?
It was so bad.
It was. Yeah.
It tasted so bad as well.
Oh God, I dread the thing. I mean, I'm not a whiskey fan at the best of times. I don't mind it if I've had a few beers first. I'll have some whiskey, but Nah, I couldn't do what she did. Nah, it was horrendous. But was there any more of a divide and a bitchiness behind the scenes, or did you was it competition on screen and then behind the scenes was more friendly? Okay, we're off camera now. We can bust each other's balls a little bit.
It was don't get me wrong. If you put 12 people in a room, and bearing in mind we were in a bubble, so we could only really interact with each other plus a few welfare. There's going to be people that you get on with better than other people.
Yeah.
And that's just human nature. You can't thingy that. But there was no great bitchiness. I think it got to the point where, again, when I was saying about people finding a common ground with people.
Yeah.
You're all in this situation, and this situation is bizarre.
Yeah.
This is so strange. Nobody knows what you're going through because no one's been away the same length as time as you.
Mm-hmm.
No one has been put on a bus to here. It's had the same schedule, so straight away you bond over that.
Yeah. How crazy is this experience?
But then I think when there's 12 people, it is hard to sort of speak to everybody and sort of get to know everybody. So it was only like some of the girls, it was like week 3 or 4 until when it sort of filtered out slightly, that I was just like, oh, I feel like I've not spent much time. But then all of a sudden you're just together.
Yeah.
All together. So it was nice. Obviously people had people who were more friendly with than.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's always some that you click with a bit more than others, isn't there?
I don't think I had a crossword with. I didn't have a crossword with anybody.
Meanwhile, they're all bitching about you.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm like, was it bitchy? Oh no one bitched about anyone to me. Yeah, because we were talking about you, Amy.
If you were the one doing the bitching, you were getting bitched about.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah. Did you find that? Did you watch the show back afterwards? So you watched it through. Was there ever a bit where you thought that's been changed, or I don't remember seeing it like that? Was there a bit anything like that stood out? Did they edit you a bit weirdly, or
no,
just straight up how you were?
Straight up how I was.
Good,
I think there was like you said, there was like, what's the word? How do I time ones where you sort of, like you said, stood in the castle. He asked me the question first, but obviously I can't remember.
Just the way they paced it out. Yeah.
That was the but generally I wasn't unhappy with like any editing. I think if anything, they probably did me a favour because I probably said a lot more stupider things.
Did you stumble when they were interviewing you and go, can I do that bit again? Was there anything like that, or were you just pretty smooth sailing with that stuff?
No, it was just
easy going.
Yeah, like sometimes they'd go, can you do that again, Amy? But just shorter. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, tell us what you've just told us for the last 7 minutes. Could you try and condense it to like 7 seconds?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That was it. A few times you see the producers going, and they're taking the headphone off, and I'm like, no, wait.
And you're like, Amy, just yeah, okay. So
Amy.
Class.
Can't help it.
So in terms of the challenges that you had to do, I want to know, what was your favourite one and what was your least favourite or most challenging one that you took part in?
I think my favourite one was probably the final. Like, genuinely, that was incredible because there was only 3 of us. It was like, this is what you've come to do. You've come, like, you are like a 1 in 3 chance. Like, if someone gave you a bet, it was 1 in 3, you'd take that. And that coming, like, having like Kia come back for me to help was amazing. Like, seeing everybody again was amazing. But just to be able to stand up on a stage and there was all these industry experts, and to stand up and be like, I'm here. Like, this is me, the little girl from the northeast. I don't have a member of staff. I don't have a kitchen. I don't have an industrial mixer. I've got nothing. But I'm stood here and Gordon stood there. And Gordon's tasted my blondies.
And you're like what?
Yeah. I'm like, what? So that was definitely my favourite.
So for people who obviously haven't seen it, what did you do in the final? What was
in the final, we were tasked with creating a Scottish version of our product. So I was like, right, what the hell? So obviously working in restaurants and stuff, we used to like have like sometimes we'd have like a Burns night, in the January. So I was like, I know Cranican's a thing. So again, it was, I was like, treat this like you're developing a new flavour, Amy. What do you do? Oh, well, I love cornflake tarts. Right, okay, so I made a cornflake tart blondie. Like, people, apple crumble. Right, I make an apple crumble blondie. And it was the same thing. And I was like, went to the market research and I was like, tell me about Scottish desserts. And then I'd said, they actually didn't say Cranican, but I knew when I'd looked at sort of what I had available, which was like in abundance, it was almost overwhelming. I was like, Cranican, because there's processes to like how you bake. And so we tried that. So I created a wee Cranican blondie, and then a box for him to go in, because like the idea was that Scottish people and Scottish pride is so prominent, and Scottish people are sort of peppered throughout the world, and what I wanted to do was send like a wee bit of Scotland anywhere,
instantly recognisable to
anyone, and it's
anyone,
a Scottish dish, but it's appealing to like a mass market, and it tastes delicious regardless of what it is. Like it's raspberries, it's oats, it's honey, it's blondie, it's marshmallow. Like you can't really go wrong. But it was that thing. It was like you could send that to Birmingham from like the Highlands. You could send it. you could send a wee bit of Scotland anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was my idea.
Nice. So,
And it works.
Yeah.
It's it sometimes goes on the counter in the bakery or at markets. I'm like, and that's a cracking Crannigan.
and you always remember where it came from.
Always remember where it's came from.
Well, what about your least favorite or the worst one? Was there one that really sticks out for you?
Yeah.
Maybe it's your least favorite. Yeah. Go on.
So, Lucky Cat. We basically walked into Lucky Cat, and the guy was like, "Oh, you table for 6?" And we were like, "Yeah, okay." So we sat down, started eating this food, and Gordon comes out and he's like, "You are running the lunch service, guys." And then, because I'd won the previous challenge, I got an advantage, which was to pick the roles.
Right.
So we had a chef. We had one chef out of 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
But she'd never worked in like a service thing because she's a private chef.
Right.
So she was like, I've never ran a service. So I'd sort of was like, okay. And a few other people were like, we're not cooking, we'll do service. And then other people were like, well, I'll try cooking. So we had to split it 3 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And like Gordon kept saying, like, get out your comfort zone, get out your comfort zone. And I was thinking, so I've got 2 ways. I can basically decide what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, my comfort zone after 10, 12, 15 years in the restaurant industry would be running that floor.
Yeah.
Like I've done time and time again. But that would leave a weak kitchen.
Mm.
So I know the effect of a weak kitchen on a service.
Yes.
So I was like, if we
Oh,
place
yes.
the 3, if we place the 3 service people there, then we've got myself and I'm good in the kitchen, like I am, and obviously the whole service style of things. I've worked in restaurants, I've been around it, I'm aware of how that runs. And then someone that was like, I don't want to serve, so I'll cook. So I split it that way and ended up running the pass.
Mm.
I've never felt stress like Gordon Ramsay standing over you
Yes.
while you're plating up his food, and there's also people like coming up to you being like, how long on for? After these, it honestly, it was like an absolute assault on the senses. And I
Did
remember,
it just bring you back to all that PTSD?
no, it was worse. But I just remember after we finished, and they were like, right, like that's it, guys, like time type thing. Service is finished. Sent the last dish, and I just remember turning around and looking at Flo, and she stood. She tried to block the camera because I think she saw my face. And she got hold of me and like moved me so I was in line with her. And I'm always so thankful for it. And she just looked at me and she was like, do not break now. Do not break now. She was like, don't break now. Not now. Not now. And I just remember looking at her and my eyes were just going and like my jaw was shaking. And my hands were shaking.
Yeah.
And it was like and she was like, not now. Not now. And then she was like trying to block the cameras because obviously they're there to film it, aren't they?
Yeah, they're there to get those moments.
There's like
aren't
one
they? Yeah.
shot of it and it's like a split second, then you just see Flo's shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm like forever grateful because
Yeah.
I don't think I spoke a word for about an hour and a half after that.
Jesus.
I couldn't talk. I could not talk.
But your adrenaline was just through the roof the whole time.
I honestly felt like I didn't know what was happening, but I couldn't verbalize what was happening to tell anyone.
Yeah.
People were like, you all right? And I was like, yeah. And inside I was like, I don't know if I'm going to die right now.
Wow.
It was the most
Yeah.
bizarre. I've never felt like it, and I never want to feel like it again.
Yeah.
But that intense, just, it was like service finished and all of a sudden my body just went.
You get the shakes and stuff from stuff like that, don't you?
Honestly.
The living off adrenaline is one of the things that a server needs.
Yeah.
You need to
And
live off
coffee.
adrenaline. Coffee, espresso. I went from
Coffee, cigarettes.
yeah. Well, I never went to the cigarette end, but I survived on. I started off drinking just instant coffee, a bit of milk, bit of sugar, and then I went to espresso shots.
Yeah.
With sugar in it, just to do something like. I tell you what was the worst time, and I'm really glad that you missed out on this period of being a server, and that was was the eat
Eat
out to help
out.
Christ alive. For anyone that went out to eat out to help out, fuck you. You made our lives miserable. We hated you. We didn't want you in the restaurant. We didn't care that the industry was suffering. We just wanted to be at home and enjoy
In our little bubble.
in our little bubble, watching TV and chilling. Eat out to help out was the worst time. Do you know what? It was probably a good idea. I don't know the stats on it. It was probably a good idea for restaurants and the economy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for the life of a server, I mean, I was grateful I only worked. It was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah, so I only did Mondays and Wednesdays. And some of my friends were doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back to back. So I didn't even get the full brunt of it. And I felt horrendous after these shifts. So.
Obviously, with my partner at the time had restaurants. So all the way while this was like lockdown, my partner at the time owned, like, it was a restaurateur. He had multiples. So there was like multiple stress. But I always remember we literally had this conversation yesterday about eat out to help out and how we had an argument with a lady who came in and had squid to start, a fillet steak, a bottle of Prosecco, and then a second bottle of Prosecco.
Jesus.
And said that her bill was wrong. It should have been £10.
Get out.
They were like, no, it's £10 off per person. And she was like, no, it's eat out to help out for £10.
No.
And the manager was like, it's not. Your £38 fillet is now £28, so it's a £10 saving. And she was just like, no, get the manager. I am the manager.
Fuck hell.
This
Those
is
people.
full, like...
Yeah. I feel it. I mean, one of the last shifts of Eat Out to Help Out, I was just done. And it was like, the restaurant I worked in shut. I think we shut the doors at 10:30 was the cut-off time, and the kitchen shuts at 10. Right, that's when the last orders can come through, and they came in at like 9 o'clock, and it was like the end of the day. We'd been rammed all day from like open till close. There was a queue out the door and just non-stop, and it got to like sort of 10:20 or something like that, and they just finished their food or whatever, and we were told the thing that we were told is to kind of not push them along, but sort of give them what they need without asking for it, kind of thing. Yeah. So obviously I'm like, there's your bill, guys, I'll take these plates, whatever kind of thing. And they sat really quietly, didn't say a thing, right? And then they were like, oh, we're hoping to have desserts. And I was like, oh, well, kitchen shuts at 10. Like, I don't kind of make the rules stuff. And at this point I was like, just get the fuck, I've had it, you know what I mean? But I was trying to be nice. I had my public face on, And anyway, the proper kicked up a fuss. They were complaining that things took ages. Didn't take ages. They were just proper whining on. They were only like, they were only young as well. They weren't like, they were only probably like mid-20s, something like that. And they were just moaning on at me. And he was like, well, frankly, the service has been awful. And I went, you know what, mate? It probably has been pretty shit because and I swore, I did swear. I was like, you know what, mate? I spoke to him as person to person. I was just like, you know what, mate? It probably has been pretty shit because I'm absolutely knackered. This eat out to help out thing, and I just tried to explain my reasoning of why I felt so tired and why he probably didn't get the service that I liked to give. Yeah. And I've got this. I think it's still on TripAdvisor. It's a massive rant from them. Like, it's this huge thing. And I remember getting pulled in the office, and I just explained, and I was just basically like, look, there were a bunch of twats. They were annoying us the whole time. They didn't really speak. They didn't, And I was like, I was done with the day. I didn't get bollocked or anything for it, because he was like, you know what, I feel I was like, I explained to him, I says, like, kitchen shuts at this time, this is what's happened, and but I've still got the review. I might put it up on the screen actually as well, because it's so funny to I would just stick it on the wall of my desk over there. It was, but it's like we all looked at it the next day, after it came through, and it's like this there's like TripAdvisor's like 2 lines of like awesome service, and then there's mine that's like this massive essay. We've got to press read more. It's that big, it's huge, but I love it. Yeah, that's what you get for Eat Out to Help. It was a horrendous time. Do you have you had any reviews like that where you've had like people maybe complain about something on Genuinely. Your no bad reviews whatsoever?
Oh God, am I like opening it up for people to go? We'll see about that.
Yeah.
1 out of 5.
Don't jinx. I've jinxed it now. Yeah.
I've had very few issues or
that's good
complaints. Like, don't get me wrong, and I've said this time and time again. I'm like, I've messed up flavors. Like, I have messed up flavors for people. Mm-hmm. I've cocked up orders, I've missed the wrong date, but generally there's never been an actual complaint about the product and what it tastes like.
Yeah, touch wood. Well, so, that's I genuinely don't think that I have the patience to write a bad review about somewhere, I just don't go back, or I don't bother. I don't need to slag off
I'm
someone's
like
business.
that. I'm
Yeah,
like, I just won't go.
yeah, because I know it was probably a one-off and that
Yeah.
it wasn't intentional. Yeah,
Unless someone was really rude to me. I always say that if people say to me, because when you work in restaurants as well, you find that like people will come to you and go, "Have you tried that new place?" Like, what? And then I'm sort of like, "Oh yeah, I went once." That says enough for me.
yeah. I went once.
Yeah, no, I went once.
It was all right. That's what follows that. It was all right. Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
all right.
I went once.
Yeah.
There's a few places I've been to once.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'd rather do that than slag it off because you look bitter, don't you? You just look like
You do. And
like,
petty concerns.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, it's fine. Like I won't go back.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That should say everything.
Well, what one jump in your mood that changed after the show was you went on a "fuck you, Gordon" campaign.
So,
So how did that go down, and what actually was your "fuck you, Gordon" campaign? It's not as aggressive as it sounds.
No, it's like a pleasant, like. Basically, I knew I hadn't won, so that was fine. But then I saw when we obviously found out it'd be airing Marchish, I was thinking, there's like 6 or 7 months. And I was like thinking back to some of the things that I'd done in 8 weeks, which is like create a ketchup that sold thousands. They had to run off more. And I created that with my team, or like with the team. We created that in a day. 1 day. I know nothing about ketchup. I'm not even a massive fan of ketchup.
Yeah.
So why can I do that for somebody else when actually if I just applied everything that I've learned that I'm capable of doing to my own business, things would happen.
Yeah.
So in my head I decided before the show aired I was going to have a shop, have concessions, have staff and start a postal service.
Within that 6 months.
Within 6 months. Refit a shop as well. I did it.
Nice.
I literally, it killed me.
It's impressive.
It nearly killed me. Did it in stages. I was like, right, shop got done, refit, move in, open the doors. Then it was like, right, tick, bang.
How long after leaving the show did you secure the premises? Like, did you go look at the premises?
About 3 weeks.
So this was as soon as you
Came
come out of the show, you're like, all right, time to go.
Came out, I was like, yep, no worries. It was, got back, flew to Spain for 10 days with Dalby and my mum. Came back, was booking viewings as I was away, like booking inquiries in for spots.
But
secured it like 3 weeks after.
So it was a "fuck you, Gordon" campaign, but in a nice way.
Oh,
and
like
it pushed
in a
you
lovely,
forward.
like, I work better when someone tells me that I can't do something. Someone goes, "You can't lift that." I'm like, "Yeah, I can."
Rolling up them sleeves.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm like, and don't get me wrong. Sometimes we did this with Matt Reed. Said I couldn't beat him in an arm wrestle. We arm wrestled for about half an hour. I will give him credit. I didn't win. But
He's gonna love that clip. He's
I
gonna
didn't,
love that.
and I can't win him in an arm wrestle. But the fact that someone tells me that I can't do it, I'm like,
Makes you want to try.
bet I can.
Yeah.
Bet I can. And it makes me want to try. So, like, obviously, and he never said that. And this was the thing, like, Gordon never went, like, you're rubbish. He was just like, I get why I didn't win. Like, I 100% get why I didn't win.
Yeah.
What I've got was so risky. I didn't have the shop. I was a woman in a house. Like, I wasn't going to invest in 150k for like an extension. Do you know? It was like,
Yeah.
it was like I wanted the money to secure these things, but what I learned throughout the process was that I'm capable and that there's clever ways of doing it. But I think that he never once said it's a bad idea. He never once like critiqued it to the point where I was like, oh my God, my life decisions are terrible. My business is shit.
Yeah.
Never once. But at that stage in my journey, out of the 3 finalists, I was 100% the least investable because there's more risk.
Yeah.
What I've got, you can't mass produce. You can, but I wouldn't be on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so much more than a Blondie in a box. It's like a Blondie in a box that's got a logo on, which I drew on a napkin with flavours that I've created from home and then developed further. It's like liner paper that I was so proud of. Getting the branded liner paper, I cried. In a box that I got, that I still buy the same boxes, never change it, don't need this snazzy packaging. It's not about, they go in the bin. This is compostable, it's brown, it's got the logo on, it's got the allergens on, bang. It's so much more. Like, it's people that have been coming to my house since 2018, getting married and asking for a Blondie table.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be bottled. Like, the bakery's the same. Like, you can't almost, like, I've got, like, the concessions of the bakery, which are fine, but what that bakery, people come in and they just go, no day's the same. It's like the personality of it. It's like the tiling's a bit mismatch. I did the grouting. It's not perfect. I did the grouting. I painted the tables. I've, like, mismatched tiles. I ran out of tile stuff. What's it called? Cement? Not cement.
No idea.
Basically, this thing you mix with water to put the tiles on.
Yeah.
I ran out, but we needed to get open, so there's still no tiles on the end of the...
Just Pritt stick it, man.
Yeah. Honestly, it's things like that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to be carbon copied.
You can't, like you said earlier, you can't teach or copy passion. It comes.
That's it.
It's just, you either have it or you. I feel like you either have it or you don't. And for you, the people, the story comes before the money.
Oh, 100%. There's, like, I've kept an element to my business that probably isn't the most business savvy business decision, which is, like, the pre-ordering system, that you can pre-order a tray and it's a set price. But the sort of, not the catch, there's no catch, but the catch is that I need to know, all I need to know is the date. So if you text me today and say, can I get this for tomorrow? If we can't, we can't. If the ovens are off or it's not possible, it's not possible. That you come and buy them off the counter, and it is a little bit more expensive, but you get that choice. If you want to pre-order 5 boxes for a party, you can do that, and it will be like a slightly reduced price.
Yeah.
But there's like a part of me that, like, knows so many of the customers, is that I know through lockdown, like, due to no circumstances, or even just through situations that are so far out of people's control, that people with, like, 3 kids can't go to the cinema because it's too expensive. There's a cost of living crisis, and there's people whose, her and her husband, or a family with children that both parents work full time, that still can't afford to go to the cinema. And once a month, they get a box of Blondies. They go to Asda and get the make your own pizzas, the massive ones, you know, like the big 16-inch ones. And they have, like, a movie night. So me prioritising money over them not being able to do that would kill me. If I thought for 1 second that someone, like, I know it's a treat item. I know not people might go, it's like £10 for 4. And some people might be like, oh, I can't really justify it. And that's fine. But if someone genuinely was like, it's my kid's birthday and I can't afford to get a box of Blondies, I'd be gutted.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't want to price them out.
I'm not pricing them out, and I never will. Like I said, this is where there's, like, the business side of me doesn't really...
It's a conflict, because you, at one point, you want to grow your business, you want to have it successful, and you don't want to be giving stuff away completely for free, but you want to give people the options.
It's like, I make on them. Probably not what the accountant would be like. You need to make that. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I make covers costs. It's all right. Like, but it's just the thought of somebody wanting them and genuinely not being able to afford them. Because for me, it's such an enjoyable thing, and it's such a sort of, like, simple thing as well. It's not like me looking at, like, a Louis Vuitton and going, like, I want it. It's like, is there other bags? There's no other Blondies.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
like
there's
that.
other bags. But
Is that going to be your slogan from now on? There's no other Blondies.
there's no other Blondies.
Blondie Bakery. There's no
might
other
be.
Blondies. Yeah.
It
I
might
quite like
be.
that actually. Yeah.
Someone started another slogan yesterday, but I think it was rude. I think I said something rude, and they were like, "That should be a new slogan." And I was like, "That is not going on my van."
That would be good.
I think it was
Yeah.
about being rear-ended. It was like, yeah, they were talking about crashing the van because it's got no back windows.
Oh, so right, okay. Bit
I've
more
got to
difficult
use
to drive
mirrors.
then, yeah.
There's no cameras. I've been very close a few times to reversing into walls.
At least it's not other people's cars.
That's true. I know, yeah.
I'd rather
That's
a wall than someone else's car.
Yeah, I think someone had come out the back to unload the van. And I was like, still reversing. She's like, bang, bang, bang. I was like, there's no windows. I can't see you in the mirrors.
You get like, I'm sure you can buy sensors to put on the back or something.
Yeah,
That'll
the
beep it,
sensors. But on my car, there's a camera.
Yeah. You
So
do get used to that, don't you?
I
Yeah.
don't need to look at anything. Yeah.
True. Well, so after the show, you come out, you start setting up the premises and stuff. You mentioned that life was a bit strange afterwards. Now you can talk about this as much or as little as you want, but you mentioned that being on the show, it didn't actually benefit your business that much.
Yeah.
You didn't get much followers from the show. There wasn't like much interest in it, but you mentioned that it affected you personally a little bit.
Yeah.
So how much can you expand on sort of the
Well,
mental health side
like I
of it?
said, it wasn't that I didn't get much from the show. I personally got a lot, but
Sorry, I
think,
meant your business,
So I think like with the business and stuff, people, when I opened the shop, the followers went like up massively, and I think when the show aired, it maybe went up like 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people sometimes look at the Instagram and go, "Oh, that's like a really high following," but presume it's because of the show when actually it was only like 1,000 less before like the show was aired. But when we came out, I was like, I need to almost like blanket apologise for anyone like I came into contact with.
Yeah.
Because it was so strange. I felt like I was just in slow motion. So I was going 100 miles an hour, but there was like a lag.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the way I saw things. So if I was like looking at this microphone now and then turned away, it was like I'd be looking over there, but I can still see like the microphone. You know, like a sparkler.
Yes.
When you write really fast and you can write your name.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It
See
felt
the
like
after
I
image.
was going so fast, but I could like see the after image. A couple of times I pulled over from driving to be like, "Pooh, stop." But
Yeah.
I just shook, and I don't know whether it was because I'd put so much pressure on myself to do everything and to do everything before the show that it was bizarre. Like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I was constantly either, because this is the other thing. So I was like then on my own with Dalby, and it was like a hell of a lot of pressure because I was either doing the school run,
Yeah.
trying to bake from home still, because otherwise there was no money.
Yeah.
But then I had to go to the bakery. So ideally I could have done with like 36 hours in a day to be able to give everything that needed attention. But there wasn't. So it was just a constant juggling act. Like, and to be fair, like his dad, obviously we weren't together, but his dad was very like helpful in the sense was like, do you want me to have an extra day? I was like, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Things like that. And obviously like my mum and dad and even like my brother were like really, really helpful. Like I remember my brother came to the bakery so this was the day before we were supposed to be opening.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother came to the bakery and he was supposed to be going out with some friends. And he'd popped by and I went in and I looked at what needed doing. And I just looked at him and he looked at me and he took his jacket off and he was like, what do you need? And I was like, I need grout. And he was like, right. And he literally stayed at that bakery with me for about 8 hours doing everything. And he was like, oh my God, I've got stuff on my jeans. He was all dressed up to go out. Like,
Bless him. Yeah.
and he stayed and just was like, what needs doing? And we just tied up all the loose ends. But it was just bizarre. And I did have a lot of like support and emotional support, but it was really hard to explain to people that as much as I'd like needed the support, I also needed to be on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think when I was away, you had to learn to deal with that stress. So like sometimes my mum would say to me, what's the matter? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like my clothes feel funny. I need to cut my toenail. I've got this thing. I'm like, I need to, just like weird things that like felt wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, my knickers feel wrong. Or like my bra's twisted. It's like everything just felt wrong on me. And it was so weird. And I'd say to her, I'd be like, I just feel sick. Or I just feel like I need to just sit. And my mum would be like, I'll sit with you. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm not like suicidal, not anything like that. I'm like, I just need a minute.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, cool. Sit here. Let's have a minute together. And I'm like, no, you're not listening, please. And she used to say to me, Amy, what can I do to help you? And I was like, you need to listen to what I'm asking. Because I know, she goes, but I don't want to. And I'm like, but I want you to. So if I just need 5 minutes, if I just need like a moment to myself, if I just need, I know it sounds like stupid, but like if I just need to look on TikTok on my own in a quiet room for a few minutes, just to like, I don't know, reset or just gather my thoughts or stay in the car for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I need. Like, I'm not asking because I'm like sleeping in or like taking the piss or just, it was just that thing. It was like, I just needed to pull myself together. But it's hard when you're being pulled in 15 other directions to actually pull yourself together.
Mm-hmm. And
like, she even does it now. Sometimes I go, you listen, but you don't hear. And I know it's because people want to help and people want to support you, but then there's times when you just go, God, I know you love me and I know you're trying to help, but
back
please,
off a little bit, yeah.
Please, I just need to be on my own. Yeah, I just need a minute. But I'm getting, it's got so much better.
Yeah.
Like, it has got so much better. Like, once the shop opened and once everything settled down, but I just think everything was just in the air.
Well, it was clearly, obviously, one of those times where, I mean, to go from, I mean, you'd never been on TV before the show.
No.
So to be on TV, I have cameras
pointed out. I think I was on Look North once.
In the background with a chippy in your hand.
Yeah. The big market.
Yeah. Oh, big market on a Friday night. That's the one. For anyone who up north, you know. But yeah, you'd never been on TV before. The cameras are on you. You're in this weird COVID anyway. It was weird for a lot of people. Being away from family and then, you know, being around a celebrity and then coming back, putting yourself through 6-7 months of absolute focus, go. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have thought I would have fared any better than you would have, to be honest. Listening to your story, I'm like, I can't imagine myself doing any better than, I would probably be shaken as well. I'd probably be, you know, needing everyone to just leave us alone or whatever. Like, and there's a lot of people listening who couldn't even imagine, you know, doing half the things that you've managed to do. Yeah. Like, it's a difficult road.
It's when you talk about it, you realise how much, but there's,
Well, the average person's not going to do half the stuff that you've done. Your drive, like, people listen to this story, I mean, they're going to see in you this insane level of drive and hopefully go away and think, how can I replicate this? Because that is a crazy level of commitment to a Blondie. You know what I mean? That's a crazy level of commitment to one thing. Yeah.
It's like,
when you say it out loud, it's like, oh, I've dedicated my life to a cake. It sounds a bit nuts, right? But what you've done is created something with an amazing personality behind it, a story, and it's hopefully going to continue for a long time to come as well.
Yeah, long may it. I've got plans. I got ideas.
I got things.
Yeah. Got my fingers in a few pies. It's just nice, and I think now is the point where it's that, like, you don't realise how far you've come till you stop and look back.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like, when you talk about it, because my days are always so sort of rigid, and it's like, I'll get up and I do the school run. I literally do the school run every morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, I do the school run in my van. Oh God, I love a van. honestly, this van's the best thing, but it's like making me want to shout, like catcall people. Like,
it's not a white transit, man.
I was in my van. And I was driving through Norton the other day, where the bakery is, and I saw like one of our friends from the shops, and I put the window down, and I was like, Gary, what? I went, get your dick out, and he went, what? And I went, is this van? Is this van?
Maybe that's
he went,
what it is.
oh, I feel really used. And I said, so you should. He was like, I feel like you're looking at me like a piece of meat. And I was like, well, yeah. I said, welcome to being a woman.
I was just going to say welcome to how women.
Yeah, I was like, welcome to being a woman. Imagine driving to school and hearing that. Walking to school and hearing that. Yeah. He
Jesus.
went, oh, he said, I quite like it though. I said, well, I'll be driving home later. So
shot it the other side of the road.
The other side of the road. But yeah, it's like my days are so like rigid, and they're sort of like very similar. And like I've got like an amazing group of friends. I've got like an amazing support at home. I've got amazing support. Like my family are unbelievable, and the help they give me with Dalby, and even like Alby's dad, like he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like he's genuinely, really helpful when it comes to him. And when he's with his dad, it's quite good because I don't feel guilty.
Yes.
Because I'm like, no, he's with his dad. He goes to his dad so many days, and that's fine. I know he's happy. He's so happy there as well. So that, and then my mum's amazing. But then I also feel like I'm taking the piss. Like I really want to start going back to the gym, but my days are literally like.
Well, knowing you now the way I do, I think you'll definitely get back.
I know you've had him 3 nights this week and give him his tea 3 nights, and I haven't done a food shop in 3 weeks, but could you put him in the bath because I want to go spinning?
I know it's been 3 days, but could you make it 4 because I like even numbers?
Yeah,
Can you?
yeah, I do like even numbers. But yeah, it's things like that. It's like I almost feel guilty for asking for help sometimes. So, but like the girls at work are really good. Like if they ever like see anything, they'll just go, do you want to, if they ever see me like this, and they're like, do you want a coffee? I'm like, yeah, please. Or they'll just come up and like put one down, or they're always like there throughout anything. Or if I look like I haven't eaten,
Yeah, they'll sort you out.
Yeah, we got people started bringing me moussaka around Christmas because I was so busy, and I'd spent 3 weeks talking about a moussaka. I don't know what it was in my head. I just wanted a moussaka.
Is that the next business?
No, yeah. Moussaka bakery. I just had this thing in my head where I was like, I really want a moussaka, I really want to make a moussaka, I really want a moussaka. And I didn't food shop. I think I food shopped in November, and I didn't food shop again till Christmas Eve. So I was eating soup. Albie was having tea at my mum's, and I was literally just eating cupboards like pepperonis. But I was trying to eat at work, and I was basically banging on for about 3 weeks about this moussaka. And one of the other businesses, because everyone comes in, and one of the other businesses on the high street, one of the guys literally walked in with a moussaka the size of this table.
Nice.
It was so.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Some
wear jazzy cardigans and have scissors and do fantastic colour jobs.
That's the ones. Well, it's when I want to end on something of a comedy note.
Okay.
So I spoke to our mutual friend, Mr. Matthew Reid, one of my earlier podcast guests. Fantastic episode, great guy. And I asked him, I said, I've got Amy coming on. It would be great if you could drop a question in. Okay. Now, you're going to have to help me understand this because I have no idea why he asked this. I'm guessing it's an inside joke.
I'm scared now.
I don't think it's scary. I mean, but he asked two, to be fair. So I'm going to ask you the first one. So his first one is, why don't you like chocolate orange flavour?
I don't like chocolate orange. I hate them.
Okay.
I don't like them. I don't like the taste of them. I don't like the smell of them. I don't trust the way they fall like that in the advert.
Oh, you mean like the Terry's chocolate orange?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But also, that's carried on to like a general hatred of chocolate orange. I don't like it as a flavour. I don't think you should have fruit in food. I don't think you should have fruit in chocolate.
It's not real fruit in the orange,
I hate
isn't it?
And everyone says to me, can you make a Terry's... do chocolate orange flavour,
Yeah.
do chocolate orange flavour. And the answer is the same. No. Why?
Ooh, I was just going to say,
Because
you know what?
I don't want to.
I really like
Because
chocolate orange. So
I
would have wanted
like
one.
eating the offcuts, and I can't eat the offcuts of that. I had my hand forced with a lemon drizzle once, right?
Okay.
And I refused. I said to the girls, I said, do you know what? Yeah, looks fine. How does it taste? They taste it. I said, cool. If you want to put a lemon drizzle on the menu, that's fine. I'm not touching it. I'm not baking it. and I never have. I've never made a lemon drizzle.
Is it the smell and stuff
It's
that puts
the
you off?
smell, and I like them to look. I like my blondies to look like what's inside on the top. You can't do that with an orange.
You could put a Terry's chocolate orange slice on top.
Boring. Have you seen this jumpsuit? Do you think I do boring?
True. Very true. Yeah.
I don't like to eat it. I eat all the offcuts. And the thing is, because I'm stubborn, the more people push me, the more I push back. You've got to. No, I don't.
And I'm guessing Matt was one of the people that's pushing you to do chocolate orange. Okay.
Yeah.
How did that conversation come about? Did you just tell him you don't do it, and he was like, "Oh my god, what?"
No, he went, oh, yeah. Do you know what I'd be mint? Do you know what I'd be mint? If you'd made a Terry's chocolate orange flavour? And I went, no. And he went, why? It's class. And I went, no. And then this is how we got on.
Did he give you the look, the Matt Reed look as well, like the sort of like, yeah, that, yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah, the look I've seen him give many crowds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
Matt Reed squint.
Yeah. He also asked, why don't you make brownies? Because they're so much better. I'm assuming this is an inside joke.
So why is he not on telly? Because he's not a very good comedian.
Oh, this is
So he
going
doesn't
straight.
want to be on
Matt.
telly.
He's been on telly. He has been. He's been on telly back, and I know he did a few shows, but yeah.
No. I have to cut this.
No, that's going in. Matt's hearing this. This is going straight to Maya.
No, why did I do brownie? Because do you know what? Everybody's had a good brownie, and everyone's had a bad brownie.
Right.
Everyone can make a brownie. They don't taste like anything but chocolate. All my blondies are exactly the same base, exactly the same mix, and taste completely different.
Mm-hmm.
One mix and a plethora of flavours. No blondie tastes the same. It carries flavour so much better.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with that.
I might have to make him a chocolate orange after this.
I mean, that's if he watches it. Matt's gonna have to watch this. I'm gonna have to send him this clip as well. I'll just send him.
No.
He's never gonna work with you again.
Me in an arm wrestle law.
That's fine. You're going back to the gym soon. You'll be able to
That's
beat him too.
Ooh.
You need a deadlift competition.
I think I could deadlift more than him, to be fair.
Women tend to have stronger lower portions of the body than men, so
Yeah.
you might be at an advantage
He
there.
does say I have fat thighs. So that's...
Matt, come on, have some taste. Jesus.
So yeah.
Do you have any words to say back to Matt?
Just that I love him. I think he's a fantastic comedian. I can't wait to work with him in the future.
Yeah, can't wait to see you on telly, Matt. Yeah.
Can't wait to see you on telly. I'll watch you live at the Apollo.
Class. Well, on that note, listen, it's been fantastic to have you on the show. It's been a delight, and I know this is one of the longest ones I've done in a while as well.
Oh,
We've just
sorry.
covered no, it's good. I like doing the long ones. So, where can people follow you? What accounts can they find you on?
We've got Instagram, Blondie Bakery. I think it's like @_A_Blondie or @A_Blondie_bakery. If you just look for the little spatula and whisk logo on like Instagram, Facebook, got a website as well, which I'm paying for, but I don't do a lot on. It's there. And then we are in Norton. We've got the main bakery in Norton Village. We have a site in Yarm. We have a site in Fenwick and Newcastle, and then also we have an online postal service. So
Lots going on. Yeah.
we can send blondies anywhere that Royal Mail go.
Fantastic. I need to get myself some. I'll come down and.
I know. Do you know what? I was literally driving up here. I thought, I didn't bring any blondies.
Raging.
I know.
Fuming.
Is this the only reason you invited me on?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's the only reason I've sat through 2 hours of your story was just to get a blondie, and now it's not even happening. Matt would have bought us blondies.
Well, what a fantastic chocolate orange ones.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, what a fantastic opportunity for me to extend my postal service to you.
Chocolate orange, new product coming soon.
Orange?
Yeah,
No,
chocolate orange brownie coming soon.
absolutely not. Be a cold day in hell when you see me with a chocolate orange brownie on my counter.
We'll make it happen. Me and Matt will come down and we'll bring you one. We'll make you one ourselves.
Do you know what? That'd be fantastic.
Okay, Matt, we're gonna make some brownies. We're gonna make chocolate orange brownies, and we're gonna witness Amy eat them. A whole
To
tray
be
of them.
fair, I made him eat custard.
I love custard.
He hates custard, but I made him eat custard.
Oh, he's gone down on my estimations now because I love custard. So
And it was a delicious custard.
nice.
It was a very good custard. Cornflake tart and custard.
What a win. What a win. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much for listening in once again. As always, be sure to leave a 5-star review. None of this 4-star bullshit. Or just it's 5 stars or leave. And obviously, follow us on all the social media channels as well. And check out all the other episodes on the channel. So until next time, guys, take care and I'll see you soon.